There is only one MCU Purple Powerhouse powerful enough to assemble the Infinity Gauntlet, but did the MCU skimp a bit on what we know about Thanos from the comics? The Mad Titan has a legendary place in Avengers history, but to slide into the well-oiled machine that is the MCU is something else completely. We took the liberty of spelling out some of the changes made to the movie Thanos, so set course for Morag and scan the duplicate's memories, cause I wanna see everything. The big bad plum Punisher we've come to know and love in the MCU may not be everyone's cup of tea, but that hasn't stopped him from looking for love as he conquers the cosmos. Like many nomadic warlords, he's sired more than his share of children in the comics. In the MCU, we've seen Gamora and Nebula, but the number of Thanos' children over time as he attempts to cure his loneliness leads us to believe that out there somewhere a lot of folks are missing Christmas presents from Papa Purple. In fact, when Mistress Death asks him to wipe out his own kids, he does so without hesitation. Thanos spent most of his childhood alone, and overall prefers the company of his chins over those in his command. The truth is, while he's always had stints with followers or minions like the Black Order, he, for the most part, tends to ride solo. He seemed to get glee from the fact that he could raise a planet with his own two hands. Sure, one of those hands has a magical glove sometimes, which helps, but that's only just recently. It makes sense on film because Earth's mightiest heroes needed some disposable bads to punch before the Magenta Maniac, but he usually doesn't need an army. Further to the fact that he rarely used armies is that the Mad Titan is much more powerful than we saw in the MCU. We're talking even pre-Gauntlet, this mauve madman could easily overpower even the most OP Avengers, and is even tangled with the likes of cosmic beings like Galactus and the Eternals. In the Thanos win storyline, he basically takes out all of Earth's heroes sans Gauntlet, but during Infinity War, Mantis can get close enough to ride piggyback and make him sleepy. He tends to seek out powerful cosmic objects that he uses as tools, so he rarely ends up in a fisticuffs. If he can take out the planet without having to stop for a visit with the inhabitants, all the better. Thanos is the son of two Eternals, which I am sure will come up in the film of the same name. And while he does come from Titan, that's about where the similarities to his MCU backstory end. We may learn more soon, but he really had no interest in saving Titan as much as he did just kinda looting it and being right. He was ridiculed and hated by his people, and his own mother tried to kill him because of how he looked. But he was saved by his dad. So still tragic, his parents were no treat, but to be fair, his mother knew that he was a deviant and that he was bound to become a monster. I don't know, I think she was onto something with her little plum progeny there, don't you think? Doesn't mean old Frankenberry himself is all bad. Despite living in a purple haze, he did have an eye for a foxy lady. His primary motivation for the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics was to court Mistress Death. They even allude to it earlier in the series.
To challenge them is to court death.
I mean, who wouldn't want this, did I say foxy? Woof. Okay, she's gone through a couple costume changes and looks, but maybe he's got a skull thing. I don't know. Anyways, when Death totally friend-zoned him, he decided to just weird science his own love interest using the Infinity Gauntlet and named her Terexia. Nothing's keeping this big grape from finding a squeeze. Anyways, it was this motivation of love for Death that led him on his quest for the Infinity Stones in the first place. He was trying to impress this ghost babe the whole time, not nearly as charming a motivation as trying to save lives by thinning out the population. He just wanted to kill trillions to make Death check him out. Listen, bro, leave us out of it. Just learn how to cook, okay? This is like guys holding dead fish in their dating profile pictures times a million. Am I right? She's just not that into you, dude. When it came to his home planet of Titan, it was Deep Purple himself who created the smoke on the water and fire in the sky. Thanos attacks it with an army of alien creatures much like he did to Earth and destroyed the planet's surface with bombs.
So he's an idiot.
Yeah.
It wasn't all for revenge, as he had been on a quest to find out what caused his bloodlust and had experimented and, yeah, he kind of killed his mother in the process. Titan was already in a bad way from overpopulation, but he figured he could just speed up the job after he was driven mad by the weird teasing of Mistress Death. So many fish in the sea, bro! During his experimenting phase, he tried to find out why he was born with the deviant gene that made him look like the violent violet he is. He added some bionics here, a little strength, some durability there, and wouldn't you know it, he's got himself to official warlord status before even looking for the golden glove. I mean, sure, his original purpose was to find out about his own origin, but whatever. Those Titans weren't doing great anyways. The MCU left much of this out, but Thanos might have a bit of a jealousy issue as well. When he was into Mistress Death, and she didn't really go for his whole Lilac Lothario shtick, he decided if he couldn't have her, well, no one would. In fact, when a lippy little merc named Deadpool caught Death's eye, it was Thanos who made sure Wade Wilson was cursed to never die so he couldn't end up with her. So at this point it should be clear that Thanos isn't as much of a sympathetic character as he's made out to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's really more of a nihilist. He kinda hates everything and doesn't have much of an interest in saving people really as much as he does filling the big hole in his periwinkle chest for all those that hated him. I mean, he's not great. This leads the Mauve Marauder to actually have a pretty high opinion of himself. He is totally sure of his actions and can pretty much rationalize any decision he makes no matter how twisted. If he feels he's right about something, it's hard to get that chin to swing the other way. He believes it's his destiny to be one of the most important figures in the universe and others should see him as such. So far I'd say he's at least hitting the backboards with most of his shots, right? In Avengers Endgame, Tony Stark is finally the one to bring down the Mad Titan by creating a baby Infinity Gauntlet and snapping us back to peace, but that is not how it goes down in the comic storyline. In fact, Thanos is recruited to the Infinity Watch by Adam Warlock and is responsible for keeping the reality gem separate after the chaos that is unleashed when Nebula gets her hand on the gauntlet. Thanos later kinda just leaves his body behind to wander the cosmos. It's also notable that in the comics, the Avengers don't really even know about Thanos' plans until after he snaps a lot of them out of existence. Thanos' quest follows him mostly accumulating the stones without Avenger interference, whereas in the films, they were basically holding them for him to come and collect. If you thought it was bad when the big plum prize fighter had the gauntlet, you should have seen when Nebula got her hands on it. Initially, she did the right thing, but let's just say it got the better of her and she became an even bigger threat, leaving Thanos to actually join our heroes to stop his bionic daughter. After the big dance with Mr. Sweet Chin's music, everyone realized no entity should possess the power of the Infinity Gauntlet, and Thanos fakes his death to get out of dealing with any of it anymore and tries to live it out on a farm peacefully, which they kind of showed in the film. All that roughing about for a mistress who doesn't love you, and what did it get you? Why, you could have been playing squash this whole time, buddy. Not exactly how you bounce back from being a genocidal warlord, but you can never hate too much on a big purple dude, I suppose. That's why Grimace has been around so long. Also, did you know that Grimace was an upside down purple snow cone? That's what he is. Little bonus trivia for you to go along with your Mad Titan knowledge.